Hello and welcome to Sound of Sports. Great show today. We got head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Pete Carroll, joining the show. You don't want to miss it. Plus, we're talking a little bit of Micah Parsons, a little Bill Belichick with UNC, plus Arch Manning and his debut as well. It's all happening right now on SOS.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Hello and welcome here inside the Den Fox 5 Studios. A brand new episode of Sound of Sports. Mike Davis here alongside James Edward Barrickman IV. A lot of stuff going on today. Yeah. We got Pete Carroll joining the show. A brand new interview with our new show with Mike Tice called The Coach's Cut. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. But we got a lot to talk about, from Arch Manning to Bill Belichick, all the stuff in the college world. James is an expert in college football, so I'm happy to be talking that with him. But let's start with Micah Parsons. You and I are on completely different ends of the spectrum with this. I think this is the worst GM malpractice I've ever seen. I cannot believe Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. This isn't even
the worst GM malpractice in Dallas.
Well, you're right. You think it's Luka. All in 1 year, they lose Luka and Micah Parsons, two faces of the franchise, two young superstars in their respective sports. And what do they get for them? They didn't even try to test the market with either of these studs.
At least you have Paige Beckers. And the Dallas Stars.
That's great. That's true. But
and Pete the Boer, who can't get over the hump anyway. Go ahead.
I want to ask you, because we're on two different sides of the spectrum with this. I think Micah Parsons is probably the most valuable trade asset that is a non-quarterback in the entire NFL.
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
He's 26 years old. In his first 4 seasons, 52.5 sacks. That's the fourth most for a career out of any player all time. So, fifth most. So, this is a guy who's 26. TJ Watt just got paid as an edge rusher. Myles Garrett just got paid as an edge rusher. Max Crosby got paid as an edge rusher. Danielle Hunter got paid. All these guys get paid. Micah's like 4 or 5 years younger than these guys.
Yes.
So, I mean, to get 2 firsts that are going to be from the Packers, where they're drafting in the late 20s, early 30s, maybe Super Bowl.
Those are still valuable picks. Those are still very valuable.
But you're not getting another Micah there. You're just not.
No question.
And Kenny Clark, he's the oldest dude on the team. He's not bad. But, I mean, this is a bad... To me, I thought you could have get 3 easily.
I won't deny that maybe they could have gotten more in terms of draft capital. I think this is a good trade for both sides. The Cowboys are not a Micah Parsons away from competing for a Super Bowl. So they're acquiring more draft capital and more cap space to acquire more good players that they're going to need if they want to turn this thing around in a hurry. So while I have my feelings about Jerry Jones and his over-involvement in Dallas's operations, I don't mind this move for the Cowboys. Now, the Packers, they're a team that they feel like they are in their Super Bowl window. They're coming off a wild card loss to Philly last season, but the year before that, they're in the NFC Championship. So they feel like they're in a window where a player as versatile as Micah Parsons puts them over the top. And I think that's the real value for the Packers and Micah Parsons, isn't his ability to rush off the edge. I think it's where you can put him in the A and the B gaps kind of as a spinner, and you can play him in coverage as an off-ball linebacker too. You can use him in so many different ways, and I think that's the true value of Micah Parsons rather than just bringing him off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, pairing him with Rashawn Gary, Coach Mike Tice talked about that on the Coach's Cut. Go check that out on our YouTube. Pairing him with Rashawn Gary, it's going to be big stuff. They go from playoff contenders to Super Bowl contenders in the snap of a finger, just like that. The crazy thing here is Jerry wanted to get this done. Michael wanted to be there.
Yeah.
They screwed it up from a personality standpoint, from not willing to talk to Mulugeta, his agent.
I'm impressed you pronounced that properly on the
Thank
first
you.
try.
I appreciate it. Jerry, they screwed up here big time. I just think it's crazy when you talk about all the faces of the franchise they have. We know that this team's not competing for a Super Bowl, but they're paying Dak, the highest paid quarterback in the league, $60 million annually. Highest paid quarterback. Not a good deal.
No.
CD is making 34. A lot. Maybe not the highest as a wideout, but that's high. To me, if we went through every single position player on that team, Trayvon Diggs, all these guys, I would say Mike is the guy you have to pay. And the thing is, you draft this guy, you develop this guy. Why are you not paying the guys that you develop that want to be there? Like, it just, to me, to not get that done is really, really bad. He's 26. He's not, the window hasn't closed for him to be an impact player. So I know he doesn't help that defense maybe tomorrow go to a Super Bowl, but you're telling me the pieces, that's, edge rusher's the second most important position in the NFL.
I would agree with you. And listen, I'm not defending all the moves that Jerry Jones makes because, again, I think he is way too over-involved from a personnel standpoint, from a business, maybe not from a business standpoint, but definitely from a personnel standpoint, where the moves that they're making are a little backwards, where you bring in George Pickens, you trade for a guy like that, it's like, okay, well now we're going for it, but then you turn around and you trade away Micah Parsons. You're pulling this way while pulling the other way, and so
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think the Micah deal itself is an issue. It's just when you look at the Micah deal through the lens of the rest of the guys that they are paying and the trades they're making, it doesn't make any sense.
But that's why I'm saying, you're saying I think it's right. This is, maybe it works out for them with cap space and all those things, but at the end of the day, when you look at all the singular moves, it doesn't calculate. Why are you doing a one-year deal for George Pickens, but you're not going to keep Parsons long-term? Listen, he gets the largest guaranteed money for a non-quarterback ever in NFL history. 4 years, $188 million deal for Micah Parsons. Guys, coming up after a short break, more football talk. We're talking to the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Pete Carroll. All right, welcome back to Sound Off Sports. Okay, now we're going to do something special. Our new show here on Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. It's called The Coach's Cut with Mike Tice. Coach Tice and myself, we get to interview in an exclusive the head coach of the Raiders, Pete Carroll. Take a listen.
Now, Pete, I know your background. I know you. Your approach to practice, meetings, and all preparation has always been with great enthusiasm. How has this group embraced that?
Mike, thanks for having me on the show, both Mikes, and appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys. I couldn't be more pleased with the way the leaders in the locker room have embraced what we do and how we do things. Because I know we don't do things like everybody else, and I ask guys to go places that they're not used to being taken to, and it's really important to me that I can reach these guys and get across the mentality, the style of play, our outlook, the optimism that we operate with, and really the belief system that we develop so that these guys can think alike and think in a manner where we can feed off one another. So it's been really fun. I've had a blast doing it. You know, I did a class in the springtime at USC that allowed me to go through the whole philosophy and teach it all, and it's meaningful that I was able to do that again, and then almost in preparation for coming into camp here, with our guys, and it's been a really full springtime with the players and presenting, the fun that we like to have and the hard work that we live for and how we really compete. So I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I'm really, really proud to see that these guys are jumping in.
You just hit the magic word, because competition and learning to compete has always been a big part of your message. From me going out to practice, and thanks for having me out a couple of times, and watching the quarterbacks bowl to the boundary with the football, watching the guys play a little bit of horse, the DBs after practice as they're leaving the field. Everything you do and have always done has been with competition in mind and learning how to compete. How have these guys embraced that also?
Yeah, well, it's competition is the central theme in the program, and it just has woven its way into everything that we do. You're either competing or you're not, and we have some sayings, we're in a relentless pursuit of finding a competitive edge in everything we're doing, so always compete is the approach, and I've tried to make it a message for our players that goes beyond just their football, and it's just a mentality, it's an outlook, and it's a perspective that you can hold about, competition is striving, is really striving for what you want and what you're trying to get done. And in essence, it's striving in our team for excellence. And so where would you not want to, battle, where would you choose to not put your effort and your focus and your intentions into? And so, I just try to live it, the best way I can, and I talk it to, but I try to live it and show them, and so it gives us a way to connect and gives us a way to have verbiage and kind of guidelines to the culture that we're putting together.
Makes it fun too. Makes it fun for the guys. I know another thing that's in your mantra is technique. You're a big believer in technique. My old coach Chuck Knox used to say, "Technique wins." When you're an average athlete like myself, you had to have great technique.
Oh, come on, Mike! You're much better than that. What are you talking about?
You're gonna get your butt kicked all game. But talk about that emphasis and your belief in technique, because I know it's something that really you try to instill into these guys and your coaching staff too, and they've done a great job with it.
Well, on Wednesdays, we call that competition Wednesday, to leave the game that just happened behind us and go right back to fundamentals and go right back to the basics and get engrossed in the competition of that with the guys across the line of scrimmage from you.
All right, thanks so much to Coach Carroll. Listen, you can watch the full show of the Coach's Cut Friday at midnight on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, or Saturday at midnight on Fox 5, and go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports, for the full interview. All right, welcome back to Sound Off Sports. So now we're going to be talking about Bill Belichick's debut with UNC. James, it was everything you wanted to see. You had Randy Moss there, Julius Peppers, MJ, Roy Williams, Jordan Hudson, of course.
Stars were out.
Belichick with the cutoff sweater. All the stuff you want to see from a Bill Belichick debut. And listen, it started off well. 83-yard first drive for a touchdown. And I'm sitting there watching this game as Belichick's debuting against TCU, and I'm thinking, maybe everybody was wrong on this guy. Maybe this dude's over the hill. It's done. But no. I was thinking, he is back. Bill Belichick's the guy. He's going to take UNC to the college football playoff. They're winning the ACC. I'm all in. And then everything starts crashing. And they lose 48-14, 34-point.
They had a lead for a second.
They had that lead. They started off great. What's your take on this whole situation? He says after the route, we have a lot of work to do. A lot of people are on social talking about the balloons at the press conference and how that kind of looked tacky. Some people are alluding that maybe that was Jordan Hudson's touch, but
I'm sure
it could have been.
No, I'm being serious. I'm sure it was.
Oh, sure. It could have been.
Yeah.
Now, the concerning thing beyond the balloons, I don't want to fixate on that, was there is a viral video right now. 73-year-old coach Bill Belichick on the sideline before the game. Jordan Hudson and him have a little exchange. When's the last time you saw a head football coach talking with family members or girlfriends or wives right before a college football game, right before an NFL game? That's not a good look.
The Jordan Hudson situation is, we've talked about this on this show multiple times before, but it's so odd. It is so different from anything that Bill Belichick's ever been about.
Right.
She is way too over-involved, has her hands in way too many things, just sticks her face in things that she doesn't need to be sticking her face in. And it's almost like Bill Belichick, blink twice if you need help, And
you've been saying this for a while.
There's something sinister just about the situation, and it freaks me out. I hope the guy's okay. But go ahead.
I'm just curious to you, because okay, listen, we could talk 73-year-old, 24-year-old, and that relationship the entire show. But I'm more curious because you're a college football guy, James. Like, McAfee, before the game, picks UNC.
Right.
Saban picks UNC. I know they're good friends. So people think, like, this is a brilliant football mind.
Yeah.
And to me, I thought the narrative, there's a lot of, like, okay, Belichick coming to the college level, he's going to be bringing Super Bowl winning experience to the college level. Going down a level, he should be able to maybe run circles around people just because, forget recruiting, just because of his intellect and the way he knows football. Now I'm like, has he lost it? Was
he ever that good of a coach in the first place?
Was it more Brady? Like, I'm trying to, it's causing so much destruction and chaos in my mind. And we said this before. You said, one, you think it's sinister. And number two, I said, listen, he's the greatest coach of all time on paper. If they start losing with all of this drama surrounding, then the talk's it's gonna get bad. If they won, it would be a totally different story. If they keep losing, this is not gonna be a good look for his history, his historical context. It's gonna put
his legacy is going to be tarnished.
His legacy is gonna be tarnished.
I think, and honestly, I was with Coach Saban. I was with McAfee. I liked UNC in that game because of Bill Belichick. He's the defensive mastermind at the NFL level and below. Like, he's the greatest defensive coach of all time on paper. So you would think that when he moves down to the college level, that his schemes would be able to confuse these generic college quarterbacks, these vanilla college quarterbacks that aren't nearly as, well-versed against those kind of schemes as NFL quarterbacks. And that's kind of what I thought would happen.
Same.
But to TCU's credit, they have Coach Sonny Dykes, who's competed for a national championship. That's no joke of a program or a coaching staff, and you have a quarterback in Josh Hoover who's a fourth-year kid. He's a junior. He's not some true freshman starting for TCU, so they have experience. What I think this really says for Coach Belichick, and granted it's one game, but he is now 83-105 as a head coach without Tom Brady as a starting quarterback.
Say that figure one more time.
He is 83-105 without Tom Brady as a starting quarterback. That's 44%.
He had the biggest defeat of his career without Brady to the Cowboys in 2023, losing to the Patriots, losing to the Cowboys 38-3. So that's a telling thing, and that can be big. And maybe the whole Belichick-Brady conversation, it wasn't as even as we thought, and maybe it's really because...
As time goes on, you're seeing more and more how lopsided it really was Brady over Belichick, and I think this is what it's really showing. You talk about Belichick in his final years in Foxborough. You look at those drafts, because he was the GM too. What do you need at the college level?
Yeah.
College football is all about talent acquisition and recruiting and getting good players on the football field. And Belichick's never proven to be good at that.
Yeah, I mean,
and granted, Lombardi's the GM there, but let's not act like Belichick doesn't have his hand in the pie and have a whole lot of say in that.
There's a lot to question, whether his talent evaluation is up to par. I mean, it's going to start questioning the legacy that he built.
Whether Bill Belichick was ever a good coach at all. Was it really all Brady? Was the Patriot way Brady, or was it Belichick?
And let me say one more thing. So that's a great point, James. One more point I want to make here. Matt Patricia, who didn't have a lot of success in the NFL, even on this show, we've had guests come on. Tyrell Crosby, a former Detroit Lion, Oregon Duck, said Matt Patricia was a terrible football coach in the NFL. He goes to Ohio State now, and you see what he did, what we're going to be talking about with Arch coming up after this.
Next break.
And Matt Patricia. So to me, I don't want to say Belichick doesn't know football, but I think you bring up a great point, James. Is the Brady-Belichick thing not as even as we think, number one? And the second thing to keep in mind here is he just not plugged in. Matt Patricia has to be plugged in because his career in the NFL is over unless he turns the ship around. He's plugged into Ohio State, and he knows if he wants to get another head coaching job, he's got to do what Chip Kelly did as an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. I'm worried that Belichick is just more fixated on balloons and Jordan Hudson than he is about actually winning games and being dialed in and locked in with college football. So that's the big thing. We'll talk more about Arch Manning coming up after the break. All right, sink or swim time here on SOS. So another disappointing debut in the college football world wasn't only Belichick at UNC. Arch Manning, highest paid NIL guy in college football, Texas Longhorns, lose 14-7 to Ohio State.
And Arch looked bad. Missed more than a handful of open throws for a guy that we crowned the number one
He got
pick.
going later. In the fourth, he looked a little better.
He settled in by the fourth quarter. But they didn't score. They had 0 points up until the fourth quarter. Matt Patricia made him look bad.
Matt Patricia, New DC, Ohio State, of course, worked with Belichick in New England, was a head coach for the Detroit Lions. So what's your take on the Arch thing? I mean, we can't say Arch is already, he's not as good as we thought.
No.
One game, but what's your take on that? Because UT was ranked number 1.
Yeah. I think this just means that. And I was hesitant to crown Arch as the next coming in the offseason. Everybody was saying that he's automatically the number 1 pick. I'm like, we haven't seen him start a whole season yet.
Right.
So I think we can chalk this up to, one, it's his first true start as the long-term starter, his first start against a very good team.
Yeah.
And so maybe he was a little nervous, maybe the jitters were there, but he missed, like I said, way more than a handful of open throws that everyday college quarterbacks should be making. So I'm a little concerned with the performance. We'll see how that changes going forward.
We'll see what happens. Arch Manning, listen, he's Cooper Manning's son. It's not Eli or Peyton's son. It's Cooper Manning's son, but he still has that Manning last name. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Sound of Sports. 702-855-3502. Always give us a buzz. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you next time here in the Den. For James, I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time for SOS.